mountain. Get the cars leaving the upper terminal on the other side of the building, heading down the mountain. When we arrive at the top, they arrive at the bottom. Very much like an old-fashioned clothesline going back and forth, or like a seesaw teeter-totter, one car up, the other car down. Now, we are not like a gondola system, folks. We don't have many cars that go round and round. We just have the 2 cars that go back and forth from terminal to terminal. Now, folks, I do realize we are a little bit busy, a little bit crowded in here. It's a little bit busy. It's going to be like this now to probably the end of August. So, unfortunately, there's not a lot that we can do about it. So, on the way up, I may point out some things that you can't quite see. But when you get to the top, on the decks, that's your $1 million view. So, one of the very first things we can see, if you can look to the right of the back window, you'll see the town of Jasper coming into view. It is in the valley floor. Its elevation is about 1,100 meters. Permanent population in Jasper, just over 5,000 people. Jasper also has what's known as a ghost population. Now that can be as much as 1,500 people, and it makes up the seasonal workers that you'll see at a variety of places around town. That's why you'll hear a variety of different accents, including at this facility here. Now, as I said, we're right in the middle of our summer, folks. There can be anywhere between 25 and 30,000 people in and around Jasper on any given day. And that can basically switch overnight from one 30,000 to another 30,000. Now, when we left the lower terminal, we were at an elevation of about 1,300 meters. Now, that's about 200 meters above the valley floor. When we arrive at the top, we'll be at about 2,300 meters. That's about 200 meters below the summit. That's a 1 kilometer, 1,000 meter vertical lift, and the track that we follow is about 2.2 kilometers in length, and our total time up the mountain is about 7.5 minutes. Now, is everybody okay with meters? Would anyone like that in feet? Everyone's fine with meters? Just times it by 3, folks, and you'll get your feet. So we are soon going to come up to and pass around our single support tower. Now it's about 2/5 of the way up the mountain. It's 20 meters tall. As you can see by looking out the front window, we are coming up on it at quite a steep angle. We're actually going to go off the other side at a more shallow angle. We are on a pivot above us. What happens is the car sways a little bit from front to back. Now it's kind of like being on a big swing, folks. It's a very gentle sway, but do prepare yourselves for it. Just watch that you don't lose your balance, that's all. So, here we go. There's the push, and that's the release. And that's about as close as we get to a roller coaster, folks. So now if you look off to my immediate right, you'll see the other set of cables. If you can follow them up the mountain and behind me, you'll now see our other car coming down. Of course, we will pass it at exactly halfway. Our traveling speed today is 6.5 meters per second. Now that's about 23 kilometers an hour. So when we pass it, it's like passing a car on the highway. You add the 2 speeds together. So 23 plus 23 equals 46. We're going to pass it at a relative speed about 46 kilometers an hour. Now it does go by quite quickly there, folks. There we go. So in order for everyone to kind of get a little bit of a panoramic, or a bit of a view, folks, I'm going to give you a panoramic view of the mountains. I'm going to start off to the far left, work my way right around the back of the car all the way back to this mountain here. So to the far left, cutting off the valley, starting to get obscured by clouds now, folks, is the Yellowhead Mountain Range. It's part of the Alberta-BC border. It's also part of the Continental Divide. Now that means that all the waters to the west of it will flow to the Pacific Ocean. All the waters to the east of it flow either to the Atlantic or the Arctic Ocean. Now it is part of the spine that goes up and down North America, from Alaska all the way down into Mexico. Now from that mountain range, almost directly behind us, we have the Victoria Cross Mountain Range. A lot of the peaks in that mountain range are named after recipients of the Victoria Cross Medal, except notably the last mountain in the range, almost directly out the back window, aptly named Pyramid Mountain. Now the Victoria Cross Medal is the highest military medal that you can get in the British Commonwealth. To the right of the back window behind the town of Jasper, that grayish mountain range is the Cullen Mountain Range. To the far right we have the Moline Mountain Range. The first sloping mountain is Signal Mountain. The first bold-faced mountain is Mount Takara. Now the mountain range that we are in is called the Trident Mountain Range, and this is the Whistlers with an S. Of course, we are not Whistler Mountain in BC, folks. There is no skiing on this mountain. As you can see, the outer shell is made up of very loose rock. We call that loose rock scree. Scree means no ski, folks. You don't ski on scree. It just doesn't make very good ski runs. So we are soon going to come up to and pass above the tree line. Now the tree line on this mountain and in this area is at about 2,100 meters, and about a third of Jasper National Park is actually above the tree line. You'll notice that the last few trees are quite small, quite sparse. The average growing season up here is about 60 to 90 days. The little trees grow about 1 millimeter per year. Those little trees are over 200 years old. So above the tree line, we are in an alpine tundra similar to what you see in the north or the Arctic. We have Mosses, we have wildflowers. Again, because of the very short growing season, it can take as much as 50 years for a flower to bloom up here. Also, we have lichen. Now, lichen is all this black and green, sometimes orange and yellow algae that's attached itself to the rocks. Lichen is very important up here because it's one of the main food sources for all the little animals that live up here. So folks, do remember you are in a national park. It is illegal to remove any of the natural features up here. As they say, take only photographs, leave only footprints. So we're going to start to slow to come into our upper terminal. In the upper terminal itself, there are washrooms and a gift shop on the main floor. The second floor has our restaurant. Now, it does have a nice panoramic view, folks. It has a nice little menu. It also has some craft beers, some brewed right in Jasper itself. Now, there are decks on both sides. There are placards on the decks that will explain a little bit more about the area. And there's a bit of a boardwalk that takes you right around the back window. Now, if you are so inclined, you can go off that boardwalk. Now, when you do so, folks, you are off our property, off our leasehold. We have no jurisdiction back there. You're back completely in Parks Canada land. So your safety and your security is your responsibility and responsibility of Parks Canada. Going back on the trails is like being on any other trail anywhere else in the park, folks. So do be aware of that and do be careful. Also, if you are going back on the trails, folks, do keep to the trails, not only for the safety of the environment, but for your safety. The shale and rocks you're walking on, very loose, very slippery. It's easy to fall and hurt yourself. You might fall a meter, you might fall 100 meters, so just be careful back there. Also, if you are going back on the trails, folks, it's relatively warm up here. You can get what we call altitude sickness or dehydration. And so do make sure if you're going on the trails, you do have water. If you feel a little bit lightheaded or a little bit faint or a little bit nauseated, there's right in the throes of it, folks. We don't want that to happen to you, so do be careful. If you need to purchase water, you can purchase it from our upper terminal at the gift shop, or if you have a water bottle, there are fill stations in both of the washrooms. Now, when you are ready to come down, just come into the lobby between the two cars. There'll be someone sitting at the podium there. Just talk with them, and they'll arrange your flight to come back down. And don't be late, folks. It doesn't look very busy, but in the next half an hour or so, a lot of people want to come down for lunch. It will be very busy both ways. We don't want you to miss that. The last few days, about 1 o'clock, it's been about a 2-hour wait if you miss your flight to come back down. So just be aware of that, folks. Watch yourself along the door. It's just going to slide open. Watch your step. Enjoy your time up here. On the sunny side on car 1, it's probably about 4 or 5 degrees warmer than this side here. Thank you. You bet. You're welcome. No problem.